What's wrong with you people?
Welcome to Not Another Baptist Podcast. My name is Matt Hensley, the pastor of Plymouth Park Baptist Church, and I'm joined by Kyle Bierman, the rural specialist of the North American Mission Board's replant team. We still don't know what he does.
Finally, Matt, the last episode, you nailed it. You nailed my job description. I appreciate that.
Are we quitting this thing? Is this it?
We are hanging it up.
Amen. On October 29th, 2017, we had our first episode. And, that was in the middle of the Astros' first, controversy-free playoff run that ended with our first World Series.
That is where the
you're hearing some banging.
Trastros and asterisks and ashtrays and all that was birthed out of that.
Where we did what everybody else was doing better. Kyle, tell me about that fateful night.
So you and I, the week before, we had been on a road trip across the state of New Mexico. Literally, from where we were in the southern part to one of the northernmost spots in New Mexico. I believe we were in Farmington. And on the way, we were talking and having a conversation, and we said, hey, I wonder if this would be a podcast if we basically just put a mic in front of us and did what we're already doing, just having conversations and talking life and ministry and whatnot. So fast forward about a week, I am getting ready to play a softball game. And we had talked about it, but I didn't think we had pulled the trigger on it. And when I get done with the softball game, I have multiple notifications from Matt Hensley about links to a podcast, and I think social media accounts as well that you had created and then given me access to. And that's when I went, oh, so we're doing this. And every single Friday, with the exception of one, we missed one Friday back in June, this year, right after the SBC annual meeting. We have put an episode out every single Friday for the past 7 years.
Yep. Thank God it's over.
That makes this one of my, outside of my family, this might be the longest adult relationship that I've had on an ongoing basis.
Yeah. Our weekly date together. This is actually episode 365.
Hey, that's more than Friends had, man. More episodes than Friends. There you go. We surpassed.
Total, we've had 461. Because you might remember it was like episode 1 or 2. Right after that first one, we had that shooting at Sutherland Springs.
That's right.
And we did an episode 2.5. I remember.
That's right.
Do everything off ever since then. That it was a special episode on active shooter. You'll remember that our second one was cliches, community, and a challenge, and it was our first of a few one chip challenges.
Because we said, like, if we got so many listens in the first episode, we would do the hot chip challenge. I think we ended up, did we do that 3 times on
the air at least because I did one without you, so it might have been technically 4. I think you did 3 because we did one with Jonathan, and then we did one with your son.
That's right.
And then we did that first one, and then I did one with a missionary. But that first episode had 5,371 plays after 7 years. So that's
crazy.
Not too terribly bad. And it only got worse from there. Let's be honest. I just remember we did the one chip deal, and we both started hiccuping, and you left. And I just still to this day I can hear it in my head. He gone. He got up and you were gone. We also did the Burner Bliss challenge. Here.
Which if you remember, all I got was straight chocolate. I got all the hot pieces. So much.
It was amazing. And then we also had one. I think it had language on the thing, but it was basically pepper roulette, and it was hot sauce, little bitty kind of thimble sizes of hot sauce that we would play roulette with, and they ranged
once again
from jalapeno to like Carolina Reaper.
Yes, and you got like 9, 10, 11, 12, something like you got the hottest upper echelon there. That was a good day.
Thankfully, it doesn't bother me. I do remember another time, thank goodness it wasn't on the episode. Wait. We had another one and it was supposed to be with Matt Queen, but he can't do spicy stuff. And so we brought on
Madison Grace.
And were you on that? I can't remember.
But I was on there, but then y'all stayed on after we finished recording.
Yeah.
Here's behind the scenes. Y'all stayed on for a while after we finished recording, and I had to go. I had another meeting. And then things took a rather unfortunate turn for Dr. Grace, if I recall. And I believe that one chip that he swallowed made a reappearance.
Annice. Yes, it did. And he was gone so long that Matt and I were a little concerned. Do we need to call an ambulance to his house for him? Like, if anybody was there, all that kind of stuff. And then he came back, and he's never really spoken to me since. And anytime we do, it's usually about the one chip challenge. So But yeah, that's fun. We had a few of those. I will say there's another time with the one chip unrelated to the podcast that I decided just to do it. Like I've done the one chip challenge, I think 11 times. And this was probably the most near death experience that I had with it, actually. And I'd done it so many times, like it was hot. Like it's a hot chip.
Yeah, it's a hot chip.
Like there's no other way around it. It's a hot chip. But I've done it a lot. And so I know kind of it's horrible for a few minutes and then you're fine. And so I did it one day, not thinking anything of it. I just like opened it up and popped it in my mouth, chewed it up, swallowed it, and we were done. Then I sat down for dinner. And that time for dinner, we had, I still remember it, taco soup. And Rebecca makes taco soup with like just seasoned beef, all that kind of stuff, and rotel basically, and all this stuff in a crock pot. And it's delicious. I love it. I haven't eaten it since because of this day. And I don't know what happened other than a few things. I've always done it on a full stomach, not knowing that I did it on a full stomach.
Yeah.
I've always done that. Like I just
made that mistake one time.
And so this time I had not had anything that day except for my waffle at like 4 a.m. and it's like 7 o'clock at night. So I'm eating then taco soup, which is all hot liquid. And so like I've now recovered. It's been 30 minutes. I'm fine. But it's as if all of that liquid went down and just had some kind of a chemical reaction with everything in my stomach. And just like mid-meal, I just get like, I thought I was going to hit the ground. I was so sick.
Yep.
And it began, I'm cramping everywhere. And I could not get comfortable. I'm getting like, and mind you, it's like 20 degrees outside. I go outside in like shorts and a t-shirt and I'm still dripping in sweat. I'm hollering at Rebecca. She goes in and gets like those, the little freezer packs that you put like in lunch boxes or whatever. Yeah. And I had like a 6-pack on my stomach of each of those freezer packs sitting on me. And I swear they're melting. They're like boiling within I was so sick. I'm like in a fetal position on the left, fetal position on the right. And I'm like, it's not getting better. It's only getting worse every minute. And so it was like the worst experience. And you had one somewhat similar where
I made the mistake of eating one of those on an empty stomach. I think I did one more after that because I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
But yes, that was had that moment. I thought, Michelle's gonna have to take me to the hospital, and I'm gonna have to explain that I did this stupid chip challenge, and now I might be dying. That's how it ends.
And since people have now literally died from the chip, I think we can actually say we survived death.
Yes, we survived it. There you go. Hashtag one chip survivor.
But so we had 365 episodes. Only really one was probably helpful. That was that computer one. And I still remember we were adamant early on that everything had to finish below 15 minutes because
I remember
we started this because everybody and their dog was starting a Baptist podcast, and we thought the last thing we needed was another Baptist podcast, and herein lies the name. And so we're like, hey, let's just talk for 10, 15 minutes and then post it. No editing, nothing. Add an intro, add an outro. We never edit it and all that kind of stuff, except for that one time that I said a word that you wouldn't let me say on the podcast. And it's not a cuss word, but I was like, no, I want to live my job, so we can't do that. And so we had that. We had every president of an entity. Now many of them are former presidents of entities. And
except
who's the one? Oh,
Albert Mueller. We never got Dr. Mueller.
It's okay. He wasn't plugged in that day. But we've had all of that. You remember during COVID, we did the knuckleheads in coffee.
Two knuckleheads in isolation drinking coffee. And we recorded that at 6 a.m. Mountain Time every stinking morning for like 3 weeks, something like that.
We had a lot. And so then we published those for some reason. I still remember that was one time we got a 1-star review with somebody's like, why are you posting so many podcasts? Because at the time we were doing 3 a week because we would combine the two and then have like mega episodes. I do remember another time we had all of the prospective presidents for the SBC on interviews, and then we did like a mega episode where I think people thought we literally had all 4 like on there for some kind of all we did was just take the like their main answers from each of their individual ones and made another episode. That might have been one where we were too busy to record. We've done that before where we've had to salvage something, but we always had it until that one. And I thought, man, we're finally getting too busy for this, man.
Yes. That was kind of that was when we kind of realized, hey, this is probably not something that's going to continue long term at this point. Just as life and ministry jobs have taken off.
Cal's making $650K, and
something like that. That's absolutely. Like listen, as a cooperative program employee of the North American Mission Board, let me go on record as saying I make nowhere, not even like in the same stratosphere as the number that you just threw out.
Yeah, because it's 1.1 million. So who was your favorite episode guest?
Man, I was thinking about this last night. Gosh, we've had so many fun ones. Remember, we had one with us, Zach McCullough, and then our two kids jumped on there.
No. It started with our two kids.
Oh, that's right. And then we had to jump in and
like
save it.
It was like 5 minutes long,
yes.
so we jumped in to try and extend it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Personally, my favorite guest was a non-SBC person, and that was former Texas Ranger David Murphy. We had a great time talking baseball and life and faith, and that was such a cool kind of unique guest to what we've had here. I thought that was a fun episode.
Yeah, you got a stinking job because of one.
Well, so our first guest that we had was my now boss, Mark Clifton. I think it's I can't say I got the job because of that interview.
So impressive in that interview. Your insights were so deep and meaningful that Mark was like, I need this guy.
That has never been said of me one day in my life. But
this guy can carry my luggage.
Yeah, that's right. How about you, Matt? Who's your favorite guest overall?
So the one that has gotten the most like bang for its buck, in the sense of we will still occasionally talk about it, has to be at Dallas, where we got into some random like broom closet that we weren't even supposed to be in. We just found some locked door.
And we walked in, if you remember, Kyle Hopper was already in there.
Yeah. And he just already found to get away. Like he was just trying to get away from people.
Yes.
Well, we brought Michael Kreiner into this
we did. That's right.
And recorded this episode with him. Now, to set this up, this is going to go live after two great things happened for us in, if you want to call this our platform building stuff, whatever. We were on the CP stage.
We were.
Amy Howe and Amy Whitfield. No, I messed it up again. So here's fun fact. I never listened to SBC This Week at that time. I did not know that it was Amy Whitfield, like a female. Like I thought it was AC Witt. I thought it was like the guy's name was AC Witt. That was what I went into that meeting.
Oh, my word.
Anyway, we're on the CP stage, obviously talking about podcasts and the little janky polos that you made for us, and with Jonathan Howe and Amy Whitfield, not AC. Yes. Had a great time. And then, during the Q&A time at the SBC annual meeting,
yes,
there was a gentleman that got up to the mic during the ERLC's portion, and he began to wax eloquently about how wonderful their president was and so forth, and the motion to defend his entity was ridiculous and all of this kind of stuff. I mean, he was preaching it more passionate than I ever heard him preach the gospel. And then he was interrupted by Dr. Steve Gaines, said, brother, if you have a question, would you please ask it? And no questions, just wanted to say thank you. And then the best part of it all, this joker saluted. No questions, just wanted to thank you. And like just salutes the world.
It wasn't quite a salute. It was like
1,000% a salute. All right. I will prove it, because I'll start sharing it again if you want me to, because this guy's name is Kyle, not like Bierman. And he went down in infamy that day. And so because this lovely gentleman stood up and said, my name is Kyle Bierman, messenger from First Baptist Alamogordo and co-host of Not Another Baptist Podcast.
Yeah.
That's
not my finest moment.
That's the setup for this. We get so much, we got a ton of follows. We got a ton of likes, all of this kind of stuff. We're all of our episodes at this time are getting 1,000, 2,000 or so downloads. And then we get Michael Kreiner on there the Friday of this deal. And we're thinking this thing is going to blow through the roof. And it got 10 downloads because Automatic had died. But we had fun with it because I just shared with him. It was just because he was on. And it was such a horrible episode that nobody downloaded it. And but anyway, we had him on again, and as a chance for him to restore his name and legacy or whatever. But anyway, that was probably my favorite, because we still talk about how nobody listened to that episode when we were primed for Southern Baptist stardom.
Yeah.
And but I would say this also it was instrumental, I'm sure, in my election for SBC Pastors Conference president. We had a great time with that.
I mean, it was mentioned during your nomination speech. So
definitely was. And I think Bart and having him on here, that was always fun. Seeing him in his little janitor closet office, that was always great. Those were always fun memories. My favorite part of it was when we had guests on, specifically these big names like the entity presidents and so forth, when we would ask them about their most embarrassing pulpit moment.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't let me share mine, even though you won't let me share mine. But their most embarrassing moment, because these are all think of Dr. Jason Allen, Midwestern. His whole family is dressed straight out of, I don't know, what's one of those like clothing catalogs, like JCPenney catalog. I don't know. Like anyway, always dressed nice. Full suits, they're all matchy. It's great. Like always has perfect hair. It's amazing. Always put together. Love the guy. Great leader, great school, all of that. And he gets on and shares his most embarrassing moment. And it just reminded all of us that these guys that we see as these big figureheads are all kind of put together. They've got their entourages walking around them and so forth. They all put their shoes on the same way. Yep. So, yeah, I always liked that.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun. Well, I think his was he had to preach his sermon twice because it was so short.
Yeah, because it was like 7 minutes or something like that.
So he just turned over his note card and preached it again. That's amazing to me.
Yes.
Yeah, there were some fun ones like that. But nobody will ever know what my most embarrassing moment is. So maybe I'll just resurrect this podcast one day after you've passed on, and I'll say, so about that embarrassing.
There you go.
What else? Any other fond memories of this?
My favorite episode every year, and I'm sad we're not going to get to do it. Maybe we need to do a special episode. Is our Festivus episodes where we would just air grievances and for whatever whatever had bugged us that year. Those were always a lot of fun.
Yeah,
good times. And then I remember one we had John Dowling on back in the early days, and we did one for sharing the gospel with the speak out like mouthpieces.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, like the episode was good, but the time that we had in my office, the three of us around a microphone with those stupid like mouthpiece things,
drool everywhere.
Oh man, so much drool, and oh man, it was a blast. We had a lot of fun on that one for sure.
Is John still alive?
Yes, John is up in Kalispell, Montana, serving on church staff up there.
I didn't know there's people in Montana.
Way up north. As close as we were to Mexico in southern New Mexico, he's closer to Canada now than we were there.
Nice. Let's see what else. I will say that when COVID and kind of having this and the little, we've talked about it, but the little 6 o'clock thing, that I think helped a lot of people, and I think it helped me. Like even you didn't like the 6 a.m. thing, and our people certainly didn't. I think it's Philip Nation was the one chewing us out the most. Like, who is up this time certainly recording something stupid like this? But we had a lot of great guys on for that one. That was kind of fun. And the other one that I remember a lot was when we would do like our yearly birthday ones, and it was usually when we would be at the BCNM meeting. Right. So we were already talking about stuff and all of that, and we would go through and like talk about how many downloads we had and how many likes we had and all, and it was like the state of the podcast address.
We haven't done that in the last 2 years because it's embarrassing to say, well, folks, we had 10 downloads this year. Thanks for listening, both of y'all.
But anyway, it's been a fun run, man. Fun little ride. So I'm glad it's coming to an end though. Like, I feel like this has been It's a Small World where we've just kind of stuck and next to the speaker and just listening to It's a Small World over and over.
It's like the ride broke down in the ride Small World.
Finally back and everybody's cheering because it started again.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, to all of you who have stuck with us for the last 7 years, man, thank you. We still, I know Matt and I, whenever we travel, we still have folks who come up and say, listen to the podcast, enjoy it. And we are immensely grateful to y'all who have, through what's hopefully been a little bit of helpful content and a whole lot of antics and a whole lot of making fun of each other. We really do appreciate y'all that have stuck around for the years.
Yep. Well, Kyle, you want to send us out one last time?
I will. Yeah, since I got to do it that used to be my thing, was at the beginning, was I would do that. So
you botched it almost every single time.
It's true, I did. Maybe I'll
Hey, one more thing. Do you remember what 2 words or what word did we have the most argument on this show of me being unable to say?
Oh my gosh. Oh man, I can see the video. Oh goodness, Matt. It escaped me.
Come on, Kyle.
I know.
Accurate,
my word. Like I could see, because there were a couple of people that like made videos of saying it themselves and post, like I could see those videos, but the word would not come to me. Accurate, because you said it like accurate.
We were sponsored by we were the official podcast of the Word of God.
Of the Bible, that's right.
The Bible.
That's right.
And we
faithful and true.
That's faithful and true. It is both readable and accurate.
That's right. Well, hey, again, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for listening over these years. It's been great to get to know a lot of you in person. And when you see us around, be sure to say hello. Give Matt a big old hug out of nowhere. He loves that. So for the last time, may your coffee be as black as night and as bold as the gospel you declare.
And may we hope in the...
What's wrong with you people?